Perfect. So, I probably haven't heard anything I said. I just want to thank Joe for doing this. I know he has other plans for later on. And we do want to make sure we get some new cards out for the 20th anniversary event. What we're looking to do is something kind of new and unique and make that almost like a release event. Where that will be a very short time span from where the cards are legal, and all of a sudden we're playing in a pretty big event. So we hope that that's exciting. The reason for the announcement today is we wanted to first make sure the Endor Grand Prix got the respect it deserved, and that it wasn't kind of a lame duck meta where everyone's playing cards that they know, as soon as the event's over, aren't going to be good anymore. But we also wanted to kind of use that to data mine and make sure where we were at was where the meta was at. So that was kind of the call for why we wanted to deck list electronically. So thank you everyone who was able to do that. With that said, we're ready to show all of set 18. I'm going to try to see if I can do a screen share.
Chris,
Joe?
if I'm understanding you correctly, sort of rephrasing what you just said, it sounds like you're saying you wanted the list electronically, so you can basically probably have Adam, Echo Base Trooper, data mine it and say there was this many this type of deck, this many cards were played, this is what the meta looks like, and you guys had already anticipated this with V18 and said, here's what we think the meta looks like, and so now you can potentially tweak any cards or whatever, or you go, yep, we nailed it, and move forward.
You're absolutely
That's
correct.
really
And I
cool. I
think
love that.
what we were thinking was where you guys were thinking, and I'll be honest. What we were thinking was Legend was going to be a little more popular than Zero.
Yeah,
But
it has flaws.
notwithstanding that, I think we're still where we need to be.
Cool.
That we think is kind of an anomaly. Are you able to see my screen, Joe?
Uh, did you click the share your screen button at the bottom? Oh,
Uh,
if you like pop out our video chat into a separate window, then there will just be four buttons at the bottom that are the camera, share your screen, mute, and disconnect.
okay. Pop out in a separate video. Pop out.
Yep.
Got it.
And then there's four
Do
buttons.
we
The
have?
second one.
Okay.
I mean, that button's in another place too, but that's a sort of an easy one.
Okay. Is that working?
Uh, no. You click the share your screen button, and it's
I
not.
did.
Oh wait. No.
We'll get this.
Oh, that's not. Let me check the chat if people have ideas. I'm very loud now, they say. I'm going to turn my sound down. People are moving the volume based on who's talking. I just turned me down, so hopefully we'll be more aligned. Let me know and I can tweak that more. Yes, everyone feel free to ask questions, um, etc.
So in my Discord, it does have my image shared as
Okay,
what it needs to be.
okay, okay. Let me go back to the main Discord. Uh, here's our. I don't know. Maybe someone watching will be able to tell me where I would be able to see your screen because I just see our two faces, not. And then here's our chat. I don't see like a thing next to your name. Maybe do we need to be in a server? Yeah, I'm not seeing your screen anywhere. What happens? That's me to share screen. I don't know. It says normally Chris should be able to choose which screen he's sharing, so maybe you have to choose between your webcam and your. Oh, there! I see it! I see it!
All right, perfect. Oh, is that what I want to share? Because now I can't see.
Let's start with it. It's the Outrider card.
Perfect. Great.
Great. Do you want me to go?
Um, yeah. So if you want to talk a little bit about that card,
Yeah, it's perfect. So 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, in the inaugural Outrider Cup, after Team USA was victorious, we were informed that we'd get a design for the for a virtual Outrider, which I was excited about. I've been hoping for some watch your step help, and so I think the release of it is coming at a really good time. We played around with a few. We had a little sub forum with the people who were on Team America, and we threw out a couple of ideas and ended on this one. It is the Outrider says may add two pilots and one passenger, power maneuver, and immunity to attrition +1 for each card stacked on a useless gesture, limit +3, while Dash Relibo piloting, immune less than 4. So the and same stats as the old one. The trade-off between these two, and what's kind of cool is you might still choose the old one. It's not necessarily a strict upgrade. The old one makes it so Utini effects go out of play after you retrieve force with them instead of getting stacked on code clearance. So if you're doing some sort of old school Kessel run, or our most desperate hour deck, something like that, you would still use the original Outrider, so your card's not stacked on code clearance. But if you're doing a Watch Your Step deck, this the Outrider sort of starts out the same as before and gets a little more powerful over time. As you stack cards, it starts to get a little stronger. Its maneuver, actually, its maneuver one less? No, it's the same.
Yeah, its
It's the same.
maneuver is one less, and what
Okay.
we found is in play testing, when it started out as a 4, if we maxed everything out as a 3, it could spin at a 7,
Oh, that
and
makes
that was
sense.
kind of a little overpowered.
Gotcha.
So we just kicked its maneuver down one less.
Sure. So it'll be a little easier to kill it first. Once you start getting cards stacked, its maneuver will go up. Most importantly, its power going up means Dash's subtract becomes a lot more powerful. But that's not going to be until a lot later in the game. Theoretically, when Dark has also developed its space, Star Destroyers, things like that. So and then you kind of have the trade-off of there's the upload Lando card, whatever it is, that removes a card off of useless gesture um, once per game, and he's the
And
only
Joe,
smuggler
sorry,
around.
I'm getting a bunch of Slack messages that the
Yeah.
stream can't see that my screen. I guess just
Okay.
you can.
Oh, oh,
Might have
oh.
to forward
Let
on.
me let me yeah, let me change it again. After I think after. Cool.
I apologize to everyone about the technical difficulties. Totally my fault. I don't know how to operate a
No, it's.
computer.
I'm sure
So
it's not you. All right. Here we go. Let's see. Is that working? So I think
you
it's up
guys
now.
see it now?
Um, so so the Outrider here, the image is amazing. Decipher's graphics team did a great job on this, and so I was saying there's a card that once per game removes a card from useless gesture. You sort of have a little bit of interplay of like, do I make my Outrider weaker by doing that? Do I want to, so, but there's, it should be a pretty fun card to help watch your step and give it a little bit of a power bump up in space.
And so now we'll switch gear, and that obviously is Team USA's championship card. And I think Joe actually came up with the original concept of it. So it's really cool that the captain of the team was able to get that done. Now I'm gonna try to. Can you see the new card, or do I have to reshare?
I Let's wait a second because I don't feel like you should have to reshare your screen if your screen it still says. Oh,
Rider.
yeah. If you might be. Oh no, it closed. I don't know that you have to reshare. I think you could probably just change the window that you were sharing. Oh, it's starting again though. Let's
Okay.
see. All right, we got a slip sliding away. I thought that was.
So this kind of was spoiled a little bit yesterday. We and the competitive balance team obviously are very aware of what Shadow Collective is and what it is not. And ultimately, what we found was by giving it that 2-1 Hoth site where your weapons are all +1 and it's drain +1 was kind of a big deal. In addition to starting off with a Gick effect and an effect that lets you soak up 3 damage, was a little too much. So we did this errata to slip sliding away, which basically will require you to start either a related site or a mobile site. So Shadow Collective can now start a Cloud City site if it wants to. I know some of the new allies were doing that anyway, but you cannot start the Gik site. One thing we are very aware, which we are impacting, is Bring 'Em Before Me is kind of out of luck now. There's no great 2-1 for Bring 'em Before Me to start. We're aware of that, but there's some design space to make possibly a Cloud City site where Vader would like to hang out at, just like the movies.
The dining room. We need a V dining room.
We're actually thinking maybe the Chasm Walkway, where he makes his
Oh,
big revelation
I,
to
I
Luke.
mean, I mean, I guess he had some other iconic Cloud City scenes.
And then also with this is it still does allow the Walker deck to play as it is because it can be related site.
Cool, cool.
Um, this is kind of how we're going to attack Shadow Collective. You don't need to pack any extra cards in your light side deck. It just we're
So
seeing Shadow
then,
Collective down a little bit.
spoilers for the spoilers. Is the only thing sort of anticipate affecting Shadow Collective in BFG?
I wouldn't say that, and there's also more stuff in the works.
Sure.
But that this I think is our main plan of attack versus Shadow
Okay.
Collective. We like the deck. I think it's a
Oh
fun
yeah.
deck. I think
Oh
most people
yeah.
think it's fun.
I played it yesterday.
Um,
It's fun. It's strong.
Even something like your play with you're stealing weapons from them. Like how cool is that? You got bad guys running guns and taking other people's guns. So we got that working for us. I know we're kind of a little delayed again. I apologize. It's my fault. So I'm going to skip over the Watto stuff because that was shared already. And instead, we're going to try to jump towards a new theme. Can again figure out how to share this screen and go to share.
Fun fact:
This one.
if you steal their gun with a weapon lev, it's a lost interrupt.
Yeah, is that a new rule?
Yeah, today I learned like oh,
So are
Angel
you
Crush.
seeing now Crush the Rebellion?
I am. I have not seen this card. Visage on table. Okay, so so hunt down and hunt down V.
Correct. Yep.
Deploy on table at Mustafar. Devastator's deploy -3 and immune ~6. Once per turn may download Devastator, Mustafar, or a private platform. Interesting. And the private platform pulls like a card with Vader or like a
You pulls Vader's ship. Yeah.
yeah, the tie or the shuttle.
So this is basically almost like a docking bay puller, but it also sets up space for decks that traditionally don't have space. And it does it in what we think is a thematic way of being Vader's flagship with Vader's planet. And it also kind of locks you out of using what is typically a main dark side main's staple in Crush the Rebellion to pull I Have You Now and
Mm,
cancel Clash. So it's almost like we like that dichotomy of a trade-off. And just giving Huntdown free drains and a space presence, it really changes the dynamic of the deck.
cool. Yeah. That I'm excited to see non 12 card hunt down, see where people, if they start this, where they're going to take it. I Am Your Father is probably a second obvious effect, but then beyond that, what sort of creativity we'll see.
And in playtesting, we actually saw some people use Alert My Star Destroyer to make the Devastator totally immune. So that is
Oh,
basically their space. So it's interesting to see what players will come up with, and we're pretty excited about giving a new layer to hunt down both V and non V.
cool.
Hopefully, new card showed up.
Yep, Alpha 1.
Great.
Oh, a Merrick Steel matching ship.
Yeah,
And he adds 2 to maneuver with his text, right? So, be good
it'll
for
be maneuver
spinning.
6. It'll have the good text for a good tie, similar to Baron.
Is Fighters Coming
This
in
one
the one
was
that adds 2 to the immunity?
yes, yep. It's the dark side version of I'll take the leader.
And it's game text of Fighters Coming in may not be canceled, but it can still be suspended by General Leo. What
So
cancels the text?
yeah, it's gonna be proofing and rules are cleaning that up. Basically, it's gonna get around general layout.
Okay,
Whatever
okay,
the wording will decide with is suspended or canceled. There was a big debate about that, which I won't
gotcha.
bore everyone with, but
Okay.
it'll get around general
Oh,
layout.
and it's a natural Outrider foil in the same set. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and also it gets around spin as well. So this is
Oh
more
yeah,
of a
because he
fun
stops
card.
spin.
Dark side
Yeah,
can use it.
that's cool. This is a anti step in matching chips because he stops spin and they can't reduce it with dash. Like cool. That's a fun one.
And now let's try this. This is going to cause a lot of controversy, I think. This one.
He's no good
Uh,
to me dead. That's a cool image.
Great image. Great image. And I'll just read it out loud. For remainder of turn, your Fets add one to their weapon destiny draws, and targets they hit are forfeit equals zero. So obviously it's Fets marksmanship. And once per game, cancel a battle just initiated where a Fet is escorting a captive. Each of opponent's cards there may move away for free, and that's immune to sense. So basically, it's a CCT helper. Um,
Right, it's better than
and
Stunning Leader because it's a used for, and it has great top text, and all the cancelers, like Quite a Mercenary V, don't touch it. And it's immune to sense, so they can't
and
sense it. Wow.
it's basically you get a free turn at the audience chamber so long as Fett is escorting the prize.
Hmm.
Um, and so that's kind of like a playoff where
Oh, it's
you
true.
can't
Once
give
they get IG and swap it over, you can't just swap for that and do. I like that. That's cool.
exactly. And so when you see every card in the set, hopefully this will make a little more sense. But it's just you're guaranteed. CCT will get around that first battle that to be honest, needs to. Otherwise, it kind of crumbles. So and the image there is obviously like you said,
So cool.
amazing. And uh,
Someone is a little skeptical on CCT helper, and Joker King said, "Be patient." So I think he's.
yes, trying to figure out how to just jump right in and share a new window. Um,
It's okay. The switching is working well. Just you wait. Just you wait. Yeah, I like that Devastator download, and the immunity lesson 6 is important too, because otherwise, if it just could die easily, that's gonna be fun.
Now, do we have tragedy up?
We do.
Great.
This is
Um,
a card that exists right now, right?
this is an errata,
Oh,
and we
this
were
is
going to do all the errata at once, but I think it makes more sense to almost tell the story. This is deploy on table. If Revenge of the Sith on table, your Sidious may be targeted by Force Lightning. That's nothing new. What is new is Lord Sidious may use his game text as if alone.
so he always can
And then
exclude.
correct. And so what we initially had was Sidious, it was this effect adding the Theed Palace icon to the opponent's objective. But we
Mm.
found that probably wasn't very fair if the opponent didn't play an objective. Here you are relying on that. Sidious can always exclude, and we thought this was kind of fair because that's what Sidious does, and you are very, very limited in your character base with that deck.
That makes sense. That's a good, very minor buff, but useful.
And we have now.
Hang on one sec. You pull up the next image and talk about it. I'll be right back.
And this is going to be a very, very minor change. It's Savage Press. Hopefully, everyone can see it. Basically, he's no longer an assassin, so he can't go in Shadow Collective. He deploys for two less naturally, and also the other Sith on table will let him deploy cheaper rather than at that same site. So he should fit in pretty well to Revenge of the Sith, but not Shadow Collective, which was important to us. And now,
All right, ew, I'm back. Hey, cool. Oh, I just missed a Savage Opress.
and then next we'll have up.
What? How's Savage?
He's just no longer an assassin, so he won't go in Shadow Collective. His deploy is too cheaper
Okay, good.
naturally, and also any Sith on table will lower his deploy beyond that. So he should go back into Revenge of the Sith as an ability for character who's somewhat has synergy with that.
Cool.
Next Revenge of the Sith card we have is I Have You Now. If you are playing Revenge of the Sith, it's a generic Battle Destiny adder much in the same way before Strong with this one became, as well as the Inquisitor Interrupt. But also, what I like about this card is it lets you move your apprentice to another episode one site. So you only have two big fighters with that deck, really. Just let you teleport them around, and follow, the Jedi where you might need to have them go. And the fact that it also has kind of a natural canceller is pretty cool, in my opinion too, because there's some interplay with that.
With Hear Me Baby. Yep.
Next card. This image is love it. Is Hosnian Prime, which for those who don't love the prequels, was the capital of the Republic. It is in Episode 7, the first planet that Starkiller Base destroys. It is kind of intended as a map helper. If Starkiller's base is untabled, Force Generation is -1 there for the light side, because obviously going to get blown up. But the dark side text is what we kind of really liked. If your first order leader is there, Menace Fades is suspended. Map crumbles almost if you have that stack in Legend to shut down Menace Fades. I'm sorry, to shut down their force drain bonuses. So that kind of gives you some interplay with Menace Fades there.
Does
Might also end up in Set Your Course for Alderaan. We'll see where it happens, but that was
is
our goal with
is
that.
this a system that that the Emperor can pull instead of Dakar?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool,
Yes.
cool.
But it does give up another force and cut your generation down a little
Right. Well,
bit.
it's interesting to see if people switch from Jakku Dakar the way it's currently is to starting Starkiller Base and pulling this, and we go back to some Starkiller Base sites. That'll be interesting to see. Oh yeah, and Dorsch points out it'll go and set your course. It's a 2/2 that that's a low parsec. You can get to real easy. That's definitely. Cards look a bit squished on the stream. Yeah, sorry. I don't know if that's on mine ends or Chris. They will they will be lovely when. Let me see if I can change the aspect ratio is locked. So anyway, let's go ahead. We got a new BB9.
Fine. So we kind of missed the mark when we made our first BB9. This BB9, I think, was already spoiled on Hollow Theater previously, but basically it's stronger to shut down the Rose BB8 lock, but also it allows interplay that if you separate them, BB9 has to choose which one to shut down. We kind of like that interplay where we're not killing the whole strategy. We're just trying to make it more manageable with essentially a Destiny 6 card that can fit into any deck because of his Undercover Spy um, options. And then we have is basically this sets. Can you all see the new card?
Yep. Dark time.
Perfect. This sets Super Interrupt for the dark side. For remainder of turn, opponent may not retrieve force using resistance characters game text. That's obviously both Rose and General Leia, as well as Jedi Rey.
Hmm.
So that should help quite a bit against the Legend lock, which, as I opened the show with, we were surprised to not see any at Endor. Or for remainder of turn, opponent may not cancel your Battle Destiny draws. That's stuck over from a Dark Time for the Rebellion, and obviously affects both Legend as well as Old Man Luke. Or you can search your lost pile, place one device you find there out of play. That's just some anti-landing claw, but also maybe Luke's hand. And then it cancels. It could be worse. Or projection of a Skywalker at opponent's planet site. And the reason for that was we do think projection was pretty necessary for the light side to survive in a lot of matchups. But it does seem kind of MPE when they put out a site and then don't have to defend it.
Hmm.
That was our thought on that. I'll just anticipate the question of why Destiny 5 when both the underlying cards are Destiny 4. Um,
I was about to say I like
Originally,
that. I think it makes it a little more playable.
and you're 100% right, that is why we did it. It was supposed to be on Omnibox and it's worse as a half slip. Then as we started digging deep into the weeds, we realized it really is more of those two cards. So we were going to make a Destiny 4, but it feels like a Destiny 4.5 card.
Right. At
Um,
4, it's a lot more sketchy for me to play it, but at 5, I'm like, yeah, I could see playing this.
and
Yeah.
it's so rewarding to hear that instant feedback because that's exactly where we concluded. We want the card played. Think it's 4.5, make it 5, get the card played. I think meta cards like that should have a higher destiny because they're only good against the certain strategies. So we like that about it. That is the dark side cards for set 18 and errata.
Yeah, it looks like
Now,
looks like a lot of the chat is agreeing silver bullets like that should be Destiny 5. If you're choosing to make the meta call to include it, you shouldn't also be heavily penalized. You're losing a deck slot. You shouldn't also be having a. There's a few people, Spidey guy and a couple fours. It looks mixed. There's some fours and some fives, so I like it. All right, what do we got
and
next?
now on to the light side.
Combat Smuggler's Blues. Ooh, a Watcher Step Hopper. Step on table, deploy
Watcher
on
Step
table.
has been clamoring for a helper, and this is a combo effect that you can only deploy if Watcher Step's on table. It makes Corrin a smuggler, and once per character you get that use pile search text, but instead of mains, it's just your good smugglers: Corrin, Mara, Mirax, and Talon. Um, Once per game, you can download a Reflections 2 location. Instead of being able to download the Ars Moisture Farm, you download that location. Also, opponent can't cancel or modify your force drains where you have two smugglers. So obviously, ROPS won't work so long as you have smugglers out of sight.
Nice. I like it. I like that Imbats is unique, so you can't get the double pull with playing Luke and Lando. Also, too, you got that trade off because you're probably playing Luke on the ground anyway. But this also incentivizes Mara, and I like that it's to a Tatooine location, so you can still go to the system with Mirax. You don't have to do suboptimal plays of Mirax on the ground so I can get the pull. It's like, but she has to go to Tatooine. I like it.
And next we have something that'll give that a little more context. Reflections 2 location
Oh, okay.
of Tatooine Mos Eisley.
Ooh,
Dark side text is if the opponent controls the cantina with a smuggler, force drain -1. And that kind of plays off what Matt was talking about on Hollow Theater last week. We really like the idea if you control one location, it has some interplay with another thematically related location. So there, if you're at the cantina, your Most Eisley is only drain -1. And the light side text is basically the cantina shuffle only during your move phase. Originally, we wanted it to download just the Tatooine Most Eisley non-V. We found that was really just the stacking meta that everyone hates. You stack the Cantina, you move, you shuffle, you move again. You stack Kessel, you stack Tatooine or whatever, and it just led
that
to
would be really powerful. I like this
shuffling.
trade off. You can't do the shuffle in your control phase to get an extra drain and an extra retrieve with celebration, but you still have uh you still have some board movement strategy stuff because the docking bay has to go in between. So now you can move between these, and opponents got to maneuver around, and that's fun.
Uh, Now we're going to get into some Wookiees
Wookiees, cool. They need some.
and start with Sagwa,
Oh,
who was the Wookiee slave from Solo.
he looks more like
Uh,
Sadwa.
Power 4 ability 2, only Power 4 because they don't feed their slaves too well on Kessel. And there's kind of a Wookiee theme that if they're drawn for Destiny, something happens. In this particular case, Sagwa makes them forfeit +1 for remainder of turn. But she protects you while you're at the Wookiee homestead, because I know you need to occupy that site to activate your effect. And when a Wookiee wins a battle, you can retrieve a Wookiee. So kind of like some Captain Phasma text there.
Mm.
And next we have the Wookiee attack ship, which I credit to Joker King for coming up with the canon name is the Liswar. It reminds me a lot of Blue 11, but it's Power 5, Armor 5, Hyperspeed 5, um, deploy 5, forfeit 5. It does deploy a little cheaper if you are actually, in fact, playing Wookiees, and is stronger than as well. It gets some immunity, and your total power is +2 at related Kashyyyk sites. And this again keys off of Saga because you kind of want to occupy your homestead to enable this ship to work at its peak.
Cool. Is there any way to pull this?
That is such a great question, and I will
Hey,
answer that
you want to jump in here?
momentarily.
I want to eat. I've had no food today because Dan is MIA. We're gonna have fellow top 8 contender Taco Bell come join you to spoil the rest of the cards. I need to get some food because the top 8 is starting in 15 minutes.
So good luck, and thank you so much for stepping in. I really appreciate
Thank
it,
you,
and good
Chris.
luck tonight.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
You can just alt tab between this and the Twitch. Cool. Thank you.
So welcome to Taco Bill. I know we're trying to get ready for day 2, so I'll try to hurry it along. Joe had just asked, is there any way to pull that ship? And to answer his question, yes, there's. Matter of fact, there is. Combo local defense and put that down. Maintains the original local defense of pulling the independent starship, and also has the old, I think, legacy text, or maybe it still is a V
I'm good with
card.
you.
It's put that down, protecting your non-Jedi in
I'll do
battle,
one card.
and also having the interrupt activation text.
So I like this because you kind of continue the theme that you did with set 18, right? Where we put out the preview cards that came out, so kind of a cheaper version of something. This one feels like it can slot into a Watch Your Step in place of an All Wings combo as well, just because it has those extra functions. Also,
And protecting your weenie smugglers is pretty good.
did you end the stream?
I I stopped sharing so
Okay.
that I can hopefully enable sharing on next card, which is one of my favorites and took a long time to hopefully get right. Shuttle Tidarium. Power 2, Maneuver 5, Hyperspeed 3. May add 1 pilot and 3 passengers. Permanent pilot provides ability of 2. Once per game, may retrieve Fly Casual. While
Ooh.
alone and piloted by Endor Han, immune to attrition, and adds 1 battle destiny. So the idea here is an Emperor Shuttle mirror. And what I hope we got right was originally it did not have a permanent pilot, so you could stack Han and General Kraken on it and play leadership and get a bajillion destiny or totally control a battle. So hopefully that this compromise works out. And I'll say my favorite text is retrieving the fly casual. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Bill.
Bill's gone. You got me, Chris. It's Jan. How are you?
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
Oh, not too much. I guess Bill and Joe
How
are
many
playing
thoughts on
top 8, so they
Tiberium?
need somebody who's not busy with all these important winning things to come in here and help you out.
Appreciate it. Just rounding out the rest of the spoilers here. Next one is Fleet Admiral Gyal Akbar. Power 2, Ability 3. Starships here are Power +1. That's text from Radis. Opponent just initiated battle here with a First Order starship. May place Akbar out of play to cancel that battle. Cancels lateral damage or overwhelm, targeting a starship at the same system. So what we wanted to
Wow.
do with this was help the old allies versus map matchup. I can say one of our goals with 18 was to not mess things up too much and try to close the gaps between the RPS matchups, the rocks paper scissors matchups. So OA versus map was perceived as one. We had a lot of different plans of attack, but ultimately relied on, instead of eradicating cards, just make 1 new card, pullable by leadership. And actually, he accidentally synergizes with the new leadership, and hopefully he'll stop 1 battle where map is going to dominate you in space to let you kind of build up your fleet at the Jakku system.
Now, is this guy a persona of Admiral Akbar? For somebody who doesn't know much about the
Yes,
lore,
he is.
that
Yes,
is
he's
that
the
isn't okay. I wasn't sure if that was his first name or not.
yeah. He bites the dust. Episode 8. But yeah, that is our friend Admiral
Quite
Akbar.
the forfeit value on that guy.
Yeah, and the play's kind of cheap too.
Yes, two force for 6 forfeit. That seems really good.
This is one of my favorite cards. Fall of the Legend. Used interrupt Destiny 6, so you know that I love it. If opponent just lost a Dark Jedi or a leader, take a card into hand from use pile, reshuffle. If opponent just retrieved force, opponent loses 1 force. If a lightsaber combat or a duel was just initiated, lose 2 force, 3 if during your move phase to cancel it. So it's kind of like an imbalance mirror, the imbalance combo, except it has that extra text to cancel a duel, which I think is just so thematic of Luke saying, "I'm out of here." It had gotten spoiled previously, but the reason for the 3 force during your move phase is to kind of incentivize the dark side to actually duel during your move phase, and we'll have more cards that hopefully do that. But it's one of my favorite cards in the set. This next card is a player card, but I did talk to Adam EBT about it. Probably one of the most influential cards in the set. Computer interface. It is a new starting interrupt. Its lost functions are retrieves Lobot or a droid, or let you get the top card of your use pile. And that will work pretty well with Cyborg Construct, which makes this interrupt a used interrupt. Also, let you pull it. The starting function's pretty interesting. You can deploy a site that has a scomp link and exactly 1 light side icon and is related to a site on table. You then get to deploy 2 effects and place this interrupt in your reserve deck. So Throne Room kind of gets its walkling back a little bit, which I'm a fan of. I know not everyone is, but it's in a different way. You don't get the other benefits of walkling, but you do get that 1-0 that everyone's looking for. And that will come in handy with this new site.
A new site. One with 1 light side icon and a scomp link, I'm guessing.
Sure does. For our Rescue the Princess fans, you'll be able to deploy this site with that new starting interrupt, which is the level 6 core shaft corridor. Dark side text cancels the light side text if you occupy. But if you don't, in the light side version, your stormtroopers, which are basically Luke, Han, and maybe some other people eventually down the road, can move to an adjacent site as a react. So this is kind of like it's the core shaft corridor. They can go to either side of the corridor and run and help their friends on the Death Star run around, doing what they need to do.
Is this the same name as the site that already exists?
It is, yes, yep.
Okay, so you got to play this or the other. Hey, look who I found.
Yeah.
You want to hop in? Okay.
And continuing the trend of rescue the have good blaster at your side and restricted deployment.
Whoa.
Deploy on table. Non-lightsaber weapons carried by your non-Jedi characters may not be stolen. That's nothing new. During your control phase, if you control a battleground with a non-unique, non-permanent blaster weapon, opponent loses 1 force. So that is restricted from the typical a good blaster at your side. And it only limits the damage at 1 and only will work. Essentially, the idea is with the stolen Stormtrooper blaster. During your deploy phase, you can deploy a blaster. Any blaster that will be Luke's and Leia's. It doesn't have to be the stolen Stormtrooper blaster. Or you can use 2 force to deploy a non-unique blaster from your lost pile to your character on the Death Star site.
Wow.
And then it's comboed with restricted deployment. There is a card that cancels randomly restricted deployment, so that's why it may not be canceled text. So basically, this is Rescue Princess Helper. Helps you get your guns, helps you get your stolen Stormtrooper guns back from Lost Pile, helps do the ping damage, hopefully lets that deck breathe a little bit.
Yeah, I think downloading those blasters is something they really wanted.
And our final-ish leg of spoiler session is an errata to the Skywalker Saga epic event. Everyone and their brother has basically been saying, why is this card so weak? It is basically an effect that says you can't deploy characters and doesn't do much else. So we're tweaking it a little bit and also attacking that in a different way. The main changes are you're not restricted to just the Reflections 2 Luke. You can play Destiny 6 Luke as well. And you also get some natural benefits of using Anakin. Originally, when we came up with the system and the concept, Anakin was going to have an effect that made him deploy equal 6. We cut that at the last minute. Probably a mistake to keep him at 8. So this will naturally make him deploy 7, which is a decent compromise. And also, you are not precluded from deploying Jedi Council Chamber or the non-battleground docking bays the way you used to be. So we lessened up the character restrictions, and also we lessened up the location restrictions to give you a little more room to breathe if you are willing to restrict your character base in this way. But the more exciting way that we are attacking weakness or perceived weakness of the deck system is through cards like this. And hopefully that's up there.
Yep, there it goes.
Okay. So basically, if you are playing that effect and you are willing to restrict your character base in that way, you get a really, really good way of setting up your space fleet. We found that the retrieval on the epic event wasn't really useful because you never had 2 battlegrounds. This one basically sets that up for you. You deploy Polis Massa, which is the system where Luke and Leia were born in Episode 3, and you get the Belden's Eye type treatment where you can get your Skywalker and their matching ship and kind of set up your space fleet. There are a bunch of good Skywalkers and matching ships. There's Luke in Red 5 Virtual. There's Anakin in the Angel. And there's also Rey in the Falcon. But you could also deploy Han in the Falcon if you did want with this card. So we're really excited about that card and the way it kind of changes the way that the Skywalker Saga will get played. And obviously, everyone wants to know what Polis Massa does.
Yeah, I was about to ask, have we seen that one yet?
It is 2-1. And again, it's where Luke and Leia were born, so it's pretty instrumental to the Skywalker Saga. Light side text, if you have a Skywalker there, opponent can't draw more than 2 Battle Destiny. So that'll become helpful if you have Luke Rebellion's Hope in Red 5. You get your Power Destiny and your Battle Destiny, and they should only get 2 Destiny. And then also, if you are playing your Skywalker Saga, it's Drain -1 and has that Endor type text, to protect you from them stacking.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty good. Really cool art too.
The images in this set are amazing, and I'm about to share another one, which I actually love this picture, which I think just justifies inclusion in the set on its own. Death Star 2 Turbo Lift Walkway. In addition to being a handy name, it is a 2-1 with an amazing picture, and both sides text limit the ability to stack. So for the dark side, you can only have 2 characters there because we saw the movie. It was Vader and the Emperor. And for light side, you can only have 1 character there at a time. If any more characters come, they get pushed off. They fall off the edge. So it's really, really an interesting dynamic here of who you put there and when. And it will enable a deck like Skywalker Saga or Hitgo to actually set up Menace Fades with a second Death Star 2 site. But I'm really looking forward to the first time someone battles the light side at the Turbo Lift Walkway and they run Luke over into the battle, and Luke basically runs over and pushes the other guy off the edge. That hopefully will be a fun site with really interesting text. Doing a similar thing to a mode of Skywalker Saga. with and similar to one with beautiful artwork.
Yeah, that is cool.
Kefbeer Oceanic Runes. The light side text is if a Jedi's there, you lose no more than one force to TTO. Theory being, oh man, I'm sorry, of you of all people to be doing the stream with. I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
know, right? It's like, man, I'm
CCG,
not sure how I feel about that light side text.
Well, the idea is the Death Star's been exploded. So
Right,
you can't use
it is the ruins of the Death Star, so I mean, at least it fits thematically.
But
Got
what
to give you
hopefully
that
makes
one.
you happy is much like we did with that Luke site that hurt AOBS. When you deploy this, the dark side does get a free defensive shield because you are shutting down their strategy. So I am sorry, that was not a personal attack against you.
No, no offense taken. I think it's great. TTO's kind of been a thorn for a while, you know. My battery alarm just went off. I got to figure out how to charge this laptop before it dies on me.
So we do have the first match.
So they lost audio.
Is this an interview or is he live?
I walked in halfway through this. I have no idea what's going on. I think it's live. I've been talking to him anyways.
Okay.
Look at this fish guy. I think this thing.
Are you watching him on your phone? Okay.
Is this just a second monitor?
Hey Chris, we can't hear you. Yeah, we can't hear you. I'm trying to fix it right now. It's on our end, not your end.
No.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Good.
Okay. One second. Okay, go ahead and talk for a second.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Can we hear you now? Should be able to hear Chris now.
Okay. Is everyone on the stream?
Yeah, everybody can hear you now.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
All right,
They
so
missed
the
the fish
reason-
guy.
Fish guy. Well, everyone saw the text on the fish guy, right? Runs
Yeah.
away. Bounty hunter comes. Destiny 7. So the reason for the Destiny 7 is actually he's a flip card. He is going to replace Jabba's prize. This solves a lot of issues with CCT. You will reveal him instead of Jabba's prize virtual. He becomes your frozen captive. And you do reveal him, he becomes the target of CCT rather than Jabba's prize. And very, very importantly, he cancels Stunning Leader. Hopefully now the He's No Good to Me Dead card makes sense. That CCT will not be able to rely on Stunning Leader at all. It will be canceled permanently. CCT will still get its one shot of can't battle me. So we thought that was a very fair trade-off. And then if he is released, then you flip him to become a character. He gets freed. He's the mithril. You can place him out of play or use him as you want. So we found that this did a lot of good things for Lightside. It puts Han Chewie the Falcon back in the meta. It also puts Corran Horn back in the meta, so that there'll never again be two Corran Horns on table on stream. So we're really excited about this card. The art is incredible. The thing I love most about this card is the underlying is our first favorite blue guy from Star Wars CCG, Max Rebo. So if someone is playing CCT, you literally get to Rebo them and give them Max Rebo, a card they obviously don't want because it's going to affect their strategy. So that's something that we really, really love, the flavor of this game and how great the community is with um, our banter and everything, and how much these events should be fun. So you get to Rebo people now, and this hopefully will be a solid answer to CCT that still will let it breathe, but not rely on all the tricks it has. So that is set 18. Again, my sincere apologies for everyone with technical difficulties. I don't know how to work a computer.
Yeah, that's all my fault.
So
You can literally blame me
nope,
for
that's totally
everything.
my fault. But I do hope everyone enjoys the set. As always, it's subject to change. The cards are subject to change. The underlying cards are subject to change. So if you go out and buy all these cards and we change it, don't be mad at us. The images, the text, and the card titles, everything could change, but we wanted to give you set 18 without stepping on the toes of the Endor meta, and in enough time for the next event to be like a release event. As always, good luck to everyone playing. Thank you for playing, and good luck to all of the Endor Grand Prix top 8. And yesterday was great, and I'm sure today will be just as great. Thank you all, and I will see you soon.